Gentlemen, welcome to episode 37 of Speak on It. The who wore 37? This is saying Deion Sanders wore 37. I don't remember Deion Sanders wearing 37. Did he wear 37?
Oh man.
I know Sean Alexander wore 37, but do we really want to name an episode after Sean Alexander? Is that heavy hitting a heavy hitting name?
Nah, maybe not. I mean, maybe.
Let's see. Now I'm intrigued. Did Deion Sanders wear 37? He wore 37 in Baltimore. There it is. Okay. He wore 37 in Baltimore. I am your host, Danny Ocean. As always, I'm joined by the smoothest man on the planet, Losty Mix. How you living, baby?
I'm doing good, my man. I'm living good. Life is good. Another 37 for you, just because there's a trophy named after him. Doak Walker.
Who is Doak Walker? That's interesting.
I believe in it. I believe he was an NFL player, but I know in college they named the best. I believe best running back in the country
Oh,
after him. He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Five Pro
interesting.
Bowls, 4,059 combined rushing and receiving yards, 6 seasons. He's a Hall of Famer. Doak Walker.
There we go.
Shout
Learned
out
something
to
new today.
shout out to Doak. Shout out to Doak. Shoot.
As always, this show is brought to you by goingfor2.com. Head over to goingfor2.com for all your daily fantasy needs, betting advice, whatever you need. Football related, Going for Two got it for you. As you all, for those watching, you can see tonight we're going to talk about Von Miller, Derrick Henry, and Jameis Winston's injuries, some NBA rule changes. We're going to talk about how we do our weekly fantasy chat, and then we're going to talk about these Boston Celtics imploding before 10 games have passed. How does that sound?
Hey man, it sounds like an absolute blessing because you already know when you see this somewhat dirty Nas fade, it could only be one brother, the good brother. Hey man, look, next episode I might be in the hat. Nah, I'm playing. I'm gonna go get a haircut, but it sounds good, man. Let's get into it. Let's speak on it.
All right, let's get cracking. We're gonna start in the NFL. So the Rams yesterday made a splash, trading eight-time Pro Bowler Von Miller from the Broncos in exchange for a second and third round pick in 2022, and that pairs him with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. The Rams are clearly going all in for the Super Bowl this year, but does this trade make them the favorites in the NFC? Or do you think teams like your Packers, the Bucks, the Cowboys, and the Cardinals are more primed and ready right now?
Look, shout out to the Rams for getting it in football. You do have to go all in when you feel like you have a team that can potentially go all in. With that being said, I think this puts them in a position to be one of, if not a top three team in the NFC. But I think if you're asking me to choose on the Rams versus the field, I'm going to go with the field
Okay.
because I look at teams like the Bucks, who when fully healthy, that is a very good football team led by Tom Brady, obviously defending champions. Fully healthy Cowboys team, you've seen what they can do, even with and without Dak. They're still able to keep that offense moving. Their defense is able to do what they need to do. I think the Saints are an interesting team. They may be without quarterback, but they are with a very good defense that seems to be traveling no matter where they go. So that could be another one. Obviously, the Cardinals, who we can't really just write off after one loss. And of course, the Green Bay Packers, who are, they are them. So I think there's a lot of good teams in the NFC. You obviously got to look at teams like Seattle, who may be able to make a run when they're when they're fully healthy. Or man, I don't really know who else to say in the NFC East. So, but you do know there's some other teams that are probably someone's going to make a run in the NFC, probably to nab a wild card spot late. So you always have to just. I think with that being said, when you think of the Rams, if they can keep the momentum that they have going, surely it seems like they can be a favorite, but I don't know, man. I like the Packers.
First of all, what's up, Kyle?
What's up, Kyle? How we doing? Shout out to everyone watching. We've been seeing love too. We've been seeing love. In the numbers. So shout out to everyone. Shout out to everyone showing love and showing out. Dan, what do you think? What do you think before we get into to the people a little bit?
Yeah, so my opinion of the Rams haven't changed. I think they're the second best team in the NFC behind the Bucks, and this just kind of keeps them there for me. I think it goes Bucks, then it goes Rams, and I kind of have like Arizona, Green Bay, and Dallas all kind of in that same tier, which is cool. The thing all these teams are trying to do is like we're trying to get a lead, and then we're going to unleash these pass rushers on you because you're not going to run the ball because you're down 2 touchdowns already, which is cool, which is a great way to play the equals great football. I like this Rams team a lot, but I've liked a lot of Rams teams that have kind of folded under the pressure. Yeah, but this is Matt Stafford. So I know we talk a lot about Matt Stafford, but he's never been in the playoffs. Like, I don't know how Matt Stafford's going to act.
They just haven't been,
Has he been to one? Yeah, he's been like once or twice. But yeah, like, I'm talking about a playoff game where he's favored to win. Like, I don't know what Matthew Stafford's going to look like when he's supposed to win. Like, I know what Aaron Rodgers is going to look like. I know what Tom Brady's going to look like. I don't know what Dak is going to look like, and I don't know what Kyler Murray is going to look like. So if I had to like give a hat tilt, I'd give a hat tilt to the Bucs and the Packers because quarterback play is essential, especially in the playoffs. But I like the move. You have Dante Fowler, Aaron Donald, and Von Miller, and it's kind of scary to me that you can line Von Miller over your center, and then you can Aaron Donald over your center, Von Miller over your guard, and say good luck, or however you want to do it. Like they can do whatever they want on the defensive front. Jalen Ramsey's on the back end. He's going to shut down your number one. And there aren't many teams that have a counter punch outside of that. Like outside of and you can answer this, like outside of Devontae Adams. Not to say that Jalen has shut Devontae down, but if like what would the Packers counter punch be?
Well, obviously for the Packers, we have you see the trust that Aaron has in Randall Cobb. You mix that with us being able to run the ball well with both AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. We have Allen Lazard. We have MVS on the outside. And you see, we have some young players that can play. They just got to, learn the offense a little bit more. Obviously, it hurts to lose Robert Tonyan, but DeGara, who was our second round pick, I believe, a year ago out of Cincinnati, he's pretty good. So we've got some good playmakers. Mix that with a good, we're getting our offensive line is getting back healthy. I believe Bakhtiari is bound to play in these next couple of weeks. So Green Bay, they're a team who can match up, who can maybe hold up. And we've played the Rams pretty well. Obviously, we'll play them here in a couple of weeks, so we'll be able to see. But you would think that teams like teams like the Cowboys who can just beat you from a lot of different ways, running the ball, passing the ball, they can match up well with the Rams. Obviously, a team like the Bucs, we know what they can do. There's just too many options. But I mean, the Bucs, the Rams beat them pretty well when they played. So, I think it's just hard for me to just completely put the Rams as the prime favorite when they're teams who match up well. So that's all.
Can I say one more thing? And this is going to be very painful for me to say because I hate them with all my heart. But this Dallas team really feels like the 2017 Eagles team. Like this team is special. And it's really hard for me to say that. And I'm really praying that they run into Aaron Rodgers in the postseason because I feel like he's the only one that can stop this from happening.
Hey man, one game at a time. One game at a time. That's all you can really do. I just want to, some days I wonder, like, 17 games. I know it's still the same amount of total games being played if you mix in the regular and postseason, but this path to 17 games it's long. It's long, Like when I look at it now, like on a calendar, like it's November 2nd. Feels like this NFL season should be ending tomorrow.
It should. It's taking a lot. A lot.
But we're in week 9?
Yeah, week 9. week 8. This is week 8. The
Yeah.
Eagles are 2. No, the Eagles are 3-5. You're correct.
You got to go off a team who hasn't had a bye week. The Packers haven't had a bye week.
Yeah, the Eagles haven't had a bye week either.
Okay, so it's 8.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we're about to go into week 9. Like this is, and we still have 9 more weeks to go, pretty much, I believe.
It can't come fast enough.
It's gonna be
let's see what the people are talking about. I come to you for a lot of fantasy advice. So the Second Take Extra asked, do I trade away DJ Moore, Schultz, and Javonte and get D-Hop, Gaskin, and Myers in the PPR league? His tight end one is Pitts, and his flex option would be DeAndre Hopkins. And then he also said that your Packers are going to the Super Bowl.
I like the trade. I think you know, it's a tight end. Obviously, you're not going to be starting consistently. You can get back a position that you really, really need. I like it. Go ahead, and I love to see the Packers in the Super Bowl.
I think Kyle is agreeing with you on the trade.
Yeah. Shout out to you. Yo, Danny. So Jay asked, why won't the Eagles free Miles Sanders, but they will free Boston Scott?
This is going to be, and I want you to hear me clearly when I'm going to speak directly into the mic, and I'm going to look directly into the mic. It's because Nick Sirianni is a moron.
Oh, you meant that.
Moron.
You meant that, huh?
Yes. Okay. I don't know what clicked in his mind that, hey, we can run the football and it can be effective. We can actually win the possession battle and win games. And it's sad it took Miles Sanders hurting himself for him to realize that.
So would you push for Nick Sirianni to be replaced after one season?
Yep. Here is where my head is on the Eagles, and we're going to talk about the Eagles later. If the draft were tomorrow, the Eagles would have 3 top 10 picks. If that were to happen, I would fire Nick Sirianni. I would fire Howie Roseman. I would call Louis Riddick and say, hey, Louis, what would it take for you to come to Philadelphia, where he started his career, and be our GM? And then I will let Louis pick a head coach. And then I will go from there. But as long as Howie Roseman lives and breathes in the NovaCare complex, this team will continue to suffer the way we've suffered the past couple of years since we've won the Super Bowl. He lucked into that Super Bowl.
Oh, I know. Trust me. We know.
Oh, don't do that. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't pile on.
The rest of the league knows about that 2017 Eagles team, but we digress.
Let's see. Wow, the chat is on fire. So
I know.
With Ruggs after he killed someone, okay, while driving under the influence, who replaces him in the lineup? I feel like that's Deshaun Jackson. Like some about Deshaun Jackson being in the black and silver just feels right to me.
That was play Deshaun Jackson. Jigsaw got 2, right?
No.
Alexa agrees.
No.
Couldn't find Being in the Black and Silver by Sean Jackson, but here is other music by Sean Jackson.
Wait, Alexa, stop. Yo, look what you did. Look what you did.
Alexa agrees that like Deshaun Jackson need to go to Oakland tonight.
I'm not going to argue with that. All right. Yo, what? Yo, this thing's always listening.
So real talk though, I think and Jay, no one wants to be the Giants GM because your owner's an idiot. So there's that. I remember my barber telling me a story that he knew someone that got indicted. Like they used his Alexa recordings against him because he was talking that weight in front of Alexa. And it's always listening. Like I don't know how true that is, But I had a Google Home, and I know one night my wife and I were watching TV, and it started answering questions that we didn't ask. So I unplugged it and I put it back in the box. And it's been there ever since.
Yo, now hold on. Yeah, now hold on. First off, shout out to my guy Reggie. Reggie, thanks for the support, my dog. Now back to you. Yo, that's probably like one of the most black superstitions I've ever heard. Yo, so my damn Alexa, right, was around and we was chilling and it answered a question, but nobody asked it the question. So did you ever think about the sounds that were playing when it answered
I did not care. I put that joint in the box and it is in my attic. The Fed's not going to listen to me. Not that I'm doing anything that the Feds need to listen to.
So ask yourself, what would the Feds need to listen to me for?
Because they nosy.
But why would they listen to you?
I don't know. Like, I've always had this vision that there's some guy in like some plant in Wisconsin who's just jumping from Alexa device to Alexa device, just listening to what people are saying and doing. Like, there's no purpose. Like, he's just jumping from microphone to microphone and he's just listening just to listen.
Maybe. If that is the case, then my Alexa's probably heard me sing mad Beyonce songs. So
Beyonce is the queen. And Jay, I hear you, right? If you're worried about that, Danny, get rid of any smart device you have, and I hear you.
The phone probably hears word.
I know. I hear that, and I understand that line of logic, and you are 100% correct. But the superstitious black man inside of me is just worried about Google Home.
Yo, okay, let's go to the next question. Yo, you're hilarious.
Okay. So this week we saw a couple of devastating season-ending injuries, which includes Jameis Winston tearing his ACL and Derrick Henry with his foot. Derrick Henry had surgery today and is recovering. Which loss impacts their respective teams' offense more?
This one's tough for me because y'all know I've been doing fantasy football for maybe like 7-8 years, and this was the first year I got to draft Derrick Henry and had him in 2 leagues. Happens that, my 2 best fantasy teams are teams that Derrick Henry is on, and I'm feeling good about where my season's headed. So good, however, that I decided this week not to watch any NFL games. I get back to my computer later that day, and I'm looking around and I'm just seeing Jameis Winston has a bad knee injury and Derrick Henry was leaving and entering the game. And I didn't think too much of it. Monday morning, I'm scrolling Twitter, and first tweet I see is from Adam Schefter, and this motherfucker says Derrick Henry potentially out for the year. Now, while devastated that I am, I tell you that story to answer this question. Jameis Winston is a bigger impact offensively to their respective football team than Derrick Henry. For real life football, losing a quarterback is different than losing a running back, albeit this is a generational talented running back, and he basically, like, 95% of the offense grows through him. But it's hard to replace a quarterback, and Jameis wasn't a bad quarterback. He knew the offense well. He was playing well. this definitely puts a monkey wrench in what the New Orleans Saints are looking to do holistically as an organization, if you think about it. So I think the loss of Jameis Winston, just from a real life football perspective, is more impactful. Now, if we're talking fantasy football, oh man, come on, man.
I too had Derrick Henry in the league, the only league that I'm doing well in, and now I'm screwed. I'm about to lose a lot of money, and I don't want to think about it. That was a very somber speech you did, and I'm with Jay. It sounded like you just delivered a eulogy, and I feel you because I feel the same way. Because Derrick Henry means a lot to me.
He means a lot to millions of fantasy players out here, and millions of Tennessee Titan fans, and millions of football fans. It's unfortunate, man. It's really unfortunate.
I agree with you about Jameis. I will say, seeing him dance on crutches in the locker room after tearing his ACL just puts him in a status that no other man I don't think will be able to reach.
Yo, do you think? Okay. Do you think that hurt when he was dancing on the crutches? Like, do you think he was afterwards? He was like,
Oh yeah. A part of me wonders, like, was it like a small tear, and then him dancing on crutches just like separated the whole thing?
Nah. Did you see the hit? That thing.
I did.
That thing was nasty.
And I really wish the NFL and its partners will stop replaying injuries. Like, I remember Jalen Reagor twisted his ankle in the Lions game, and they just put that joint on a loop. Yo, I don't want to watch a man twist his ankle. I don't want to watch Jameis Winston's knee pop.
Yeah. Like, the only time they don't like showing is, unfortunate injury last year that happened in the Cowboys game. They didn't put that one on loop because you didn't want to see that. That's nuts.
And same when Paul George broke his leg in half. Like, that one was a one and done. And Gordon Hayward, those are like the only 3 injuries where I can remember like they didn't put anything on a loop.
Yeah. Kyle said, if anything, it was Jameis Winston being an idiot and trying to walk on a torn ACL. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though. After beating the Super Bowl champions 3 straight times in the regular season at home, I might pop that thing a little bit. I might be in the locker room. You guys see AB riding a bike with a boot on his injured foot. Oh man,
I missed that. I wish I would have.
AB that one too.
I do have beef with AB though, and it's not AB in particular. It's the refs. If you remember that Eagle Tampa Bay game, we got called for taunting, but every time Antonio Brown catches the first down, he walks 15 yards down the field flexing, and then he drops the ball. Like, if that's not a taunt, then I don't know what is. But that's just me griping.
I'm going to be honest with you. This whole taunting penalty is absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
And I don't understand it. It's egregious. It needs to be eliminated, but they're trying to play nice. So who knows? It's ridiculous, though. It's so garbage. It's so garbage. Speaking of rules, where are we going over rules?
Yeah, so let's shift gears to this NBA talk. So there's been a lot of talk in the NBA that the new rule change has negatively affected certain NBA superstars this season. And the rule changes we are referring to is offensive players pump faking and then jumping into the defender. We're talking about offensive players or ball handlers raking people's arms and then shooting their arms up, kind of like what Kevin Durant used to do when he put the ball down low and then rip his arms through. It's kind of an extension of that. It's more of a rule to prevent to get cheap fouls out of the game, and people are saying it's negatively affecting certain superstars. So where are you on this new rule change?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for basketball purposes. I think, obviously this, silly tic-tac fouls that players were drawing to take, a little advantage of the system, as you were saying, that's eliminated. I think what people are reacting to is that, you're seeing that players are kind of adjusting to the rule some because it is a new rule. So you are having to adjust some. And then I think another small thing that gets maybe a little overlooked. The players are playing with new basketballs out there.
Yeah.
A new brand of basketballs, which in my mind, I downplayed the significance of new basketballs until I thought about it as like a track person. Like, what if I went from using one brand of track spikes to another? Because I've only used one brand. I've only worn Nike track or track cleats my entire life. What if I had used Adidas? It would have been different. So with that, I'm like, okay, I kind of understand. So with that, I think people got to be patient with a lot of these players. It's still early in the season. It's in November. You got to think a lot of these guys are trying to play in April, May, and June. So, as long as your teams are getting healthy or are healthy in February, March, April, and that time frame, I think, I can live with it. Rule wise, I think these players are going to be fine. I think, you know, by Christmas or fresh out of Christmas, you're going to be seeing who's the real 24, 25 point scorers a night and whatnot.
So I think this rule is good for the people that miss basketball in the 90s, right? Because that's kind of been the complaint of old heads, is that basketball is too soft now, and this kind of eliminates some of those soft fouls that they're referring to. And I agree with you on the new ball thing, but I know this question is kind of directed towards James Harden, right? Because he's kind of struggled, because he's kind of known for getting a lot of points at the free throw line, getting going from the free throw line, and that just kind of unlocks the rest of his game. And it kind of affects Luka too. Luka's another one who kind of gets going off those cheap fouls and getting easy buckets. They're just going to have to evolve, and they will evolve, right? Like, I think they need to take some time.
They're great basketball players.
Yeah, they're too great of basketball players to not figure this out. It's going to take time for them to adjust to how refs are calling it. And then it's just going to be something new, right? Like I mentioned earlier, like at first it was Kevin Durant with that rip move, where they got that out of the game, and then they figured something else out. It's going to be the same thing. Like, they're going to figure something else out. And James Harden and Luka and Dame Lillard and all these other people that this rule is kind of aimed towards, they're just going to find another way to get going. So, I mean, now it's cool because people hate James Harden because he's James Harden. So if you're a James Harden hater, you can say he's not getting the fouls, or he's not as good as we're not getting the fouls. But he's still James Harden.
What's like the main driving force behind the anti-James Harden agenda?
Oh, it's his playoff performances.
But so you dislike a player because of his postseason performances?
I think it's that, and I think a lot of people just don't like James Harden. I don't understand why they don't like James Harden, but I feel like they feel like he gets a lot of cheap fouls. He does a lot of stuff on the court that really piss people off, like the pump faking. What's the one? What's that guy from Lakers who now plays for the Pelicans? I forgot it. Josh Hart. It's Josh Hart. There's a clip of him like grabbing Josh Hart's arm, going to the free throw line, and then raking it up and getting the foul. Like, he does. It's crafty. And I find that to be pretty inquisitive and funny, but people hate that. People hate that he hunts for fouls instead of just hooping, and then people hate his playoff performance.
I don't know. I've always thought the James Harden slander was weird because dude just goes out there and hoops. Yeah, I mean, if we were going to ticky-tack every player who cheats the system, then you guys, wouldn't see half the players who are really, to a blind eye, to a regular eye, looks like they're playing basketball, but they're getting away with some pretty egregious stuff or rule changes. So,
and I also think people hate James Harden because I just had it. Yeah, because the ISO ball, that's another one. Like, they think he doesn't play team basketball. It's just dribble, step back three, or draw a foul. Which he's proven in Brooklyn last year that he's more than just a dribble, shoot the ball.
But I don't get that because he's put up incredible triple-double numbers. He's led the league in assists multiple years. So how can he be dribble if he's led the league in assists? So is it Uchiwali or is it one Mike? I don't know.
Oh my! I don't know. I don't know if the people will get that reference. That is masterful.
That's I don't know. Let's try a little fantasy football.
Let's not.
No, we got to chat. We got to chat about it. The chat's been chatting a little fantasy football. No, we're not chatting. We'll take a few trade or no trade or fantasy advice, but we're mostly here to give you guys a quick update on the fantasy football league that Danny and I are both in. So, give you guys an update on where things stand after 8 weeks. So Danny and I are currently both in the NFC. It's a 10-team league. We're both in the NFC. I am leading the division at 6-2. Danny is tied for third in the division at 2-6.
2-6, baby. We here. We in these streets.
Danny, I'm not gonna get into your streaks, but I will open up the floor if you want to talk about your last week's team's performance and what you're thinking.
So I have lost 6 in a row. I went 2-0, and I've lost 6 in a row. And in the same breath, I can win 6 in a row. I'm going to say right now, my team is too good to not make the playoffs. They just haven't been on the same page. And we will get on the same page, and I will make the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, A.J. Brown, Amari Cooper, and Darren Waller. That's a solid team. I am going to go on a run, and I'm going to make the playoffs. And if I get a ticket to the dance, you better watch out. My team is too good to not go on some kind of run. I have too many studs to not go on some kind of run.
Hear anything on Chris Carson?
Dog, I'm about to drop Chris Carson. Don't worry. I got Chuba Hubbard. Like, my team is too good.
Christian McCaffrey's going to come back.
That's cool. I'm going to get Adrian Peterson. I made a waiver claim for Adrian Peterson. And I'm so bad, I'm going to get that waiver claim. And that's going to be the spark. Like, my team is too damn good for me to be 2-6 right now. I'm going on a run. We going on a run.
The crazy part is you got a very good point. You are bad enough. I'm saying, yeah, you're right.
This team is too damn good for me to be 2-6, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are your overall thoughts on maybe the league? Or actually, no, I'll give it since I'm the league commissioner.
Yes,
I can give some overall thoughts on the league. So as I look across the NFC and the AFC, I think we both can agree here that the AFC is a much, much tougher division than the NFC. The teams in the AFC drafted pretty well. They have an 8-0 team, a 6-2 team, a 5-3 team, and a 4-4 team. So I think at this point I'm 70% sure as a league commissioner that I know which team will be mostly representing the wild card spots, but who knows? In the NFC, we do have a 4-4 team, so I think he still has a good shot at making the dance as well. I will say this team that's 8-0. I can read off its roster for everyone. So you have Tom Brady, Aaron Jones, Cordell Patterson, you have Tyreek Hill, you have Robert Woods, Mark Andrews, Hunter Renfrow, you get the Bills defense, and you got Nick Folk as pretty much your lineup. You also have Antonio Brown on the bench. Talking about this team, I think my hot take there is that while it's a good team, I still don't think it's the team that's going to win it all. I think, like all teams, it's going to regress to the median. I think personally, I think a team is going to make a run. And as I've been looking across the league, I see some teams who've been hot, who've been cold, and some teams who, have some pieces that can make a run in this league. So I'm excited. So that's my league commissioner's note.
I think that's going to be a weekly segment, the Daily Commissioner's Note. I like that. I'm going to coin that.
Just my thoughts. Who had the biggest win in college football?
Michigan State. That one's easy. Michigan State over Michigan. That was a great game.
Great game.
That's the kind of win that you're going to need to get into the playoff, because Michigan State right now is 5. I think the show is going to happen now, right? The reveal is happening right now.
Yeah, actually, as a quick update, so I think George is in at the number 1 spot.
There it is. Oh, whoa! So Schefter just tweeted it. Georgia's at 1.
Okay.
Bama's at 2. Michigan State is 3. Oregon is 4. Ohio State is 5. And Cincinnati is 6.
Okay, I think that's interesting. I think the committee's high on this Cincinnati juice. I mean, not
really?
Cincinnati. No, they're high on the Michigan State juice.
Okay.
Interesting.
Dog, since he's
Mr. Curly Wolf, I'm not sure what's going on with Mike Williams, by the way. We had a question on what's going on with Mike Williams. I'm not sure what's going on with Mike Williams. Stay patient. He's a great receiver. The Chargers offense is on and off.
We play the Chargers this week.
Oh, yeah. So they're going to be on. 10 team full PPR. Should I trade Khalil Herbert and Justin Jefferson for Adam Thielen and Damian Harris?
No.
You should not.
You know what you should do? Whoever offered you that trade, you should go slap them. Because that is disrespectful.
If you really wanted to make a don't do that. Don't do anything about that trade. Deontay Johnson for Hopkins straight up. I would probably make that trade. Yeah, I have DeAndre Hopkins in the league. Should I look to trade him? It's the same league I have Derrick Henry in. It's the league I have Derrick Henry in. Should I look to trade him for a better receiver?
I mean, what are you going to get for him?
For DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like I can get him for another good receiver straight up, right?
Maybe. It depends on who the receiver is.
Give me a DeAndre Hopkins-esque receiver, like one-on-one trade.
Oh, someone. So my question is there someone in that league that just sucks? You know, like what happened to you in your basketball league last year, and they sucked, and they were just like, here, you can have whoever you want. Like, is there someone in that league like that?
There is. Let's see. There's 2 2-6 teams. One's in my division, one's not. So let's look at the one that's not in my division.
Yeah, let's see what this person has. He
has Nick Chubb, Myles Gaskin, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans.
There it is. Mike Evans or Tyreek Hill. You can probably get one of those two.
He also has Robert Woods.
Nah, you could definitely get Robert Woods for Nuke straight up. You might even be able to slide in or a flyer on like a running back or a tight end if you need some depth somewhere. But is Robert Woods enough?
Part of me would rather do Mike Evans because I already have him in a league.
I feel like Robert Woods is a depth piece, not a premier piece.
I might. Let's look at the 2-6 team in the division. In the division, just to see. He's got Saquon, Michael Carter, Stephon Diggs, Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, Allen Robinson.
I feel like you could low-key get Hollywood Brown and be straight.
You would go Hollywood Brown?
I have Hollywood in one league, and I've been sleeping on him, but Lamar Jackson loves him.
So if I was to offer this guy Hopkins for Hollywood Brown straight up, do you think that'd be a fair trade?
I would do it, but you're talking to a guy who's 2-6. So take that with a grain of salt. I would do it, which means you probably shouldn't do it. but I would do it. Who is it? Or unless you think you can get your hands on Diggs, because I have Diggs in one league and he's doing okay, but I mean he's Stephon Diggs, right? Like,
So so
Cal has a nice little strategy in this.
Evans
Evans is
is
on.
on bye this week, so maybe that manager would do it straight up this week to get Hopkins in their lineup. So let me give you my receivers in this league. It's Adam Thielen, Cortland Sutton, obviously Hop, Antonio Brown, and that would be it. Plus I got well, that's they're tight ends. But yeah, those are my receivers. So you're saying I make you're saying I push for the Evans trade, wait till he comes back next week.
I mean, you might suffer this week, but we're thinking about the long haul. I like that a lot. I mean, you have the depth. Well, the Bucs are on a bye this week too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So who would your starting receivers be this week?
It would be Thielen and Cortland Sutton, and then I'd probably, I got Khalil Herbert. I might be able to find I got Khalil Herbert. I got Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, George Kittle.
Okay. So you could put Schultz in the flex or yeah, I think you could survive this week, like, or Thielen or your other receiver. Who are they playing? Like, who the Vikings play this week?
Baltimore.
Oh, never mind. All right. Who was your other receiver?
Cortland Sutton, and I believe they're playing Dallas. They're at Dallas.
Okay. I think that might be a decent matchup because Diggs is going to be on Judy.
So do you think, which trade do you think is better then? Which trade should I try to push for more? The not Diggs one, the Evans one, or the Hollywood Brown one?
Evans. I'd go with Evans, but I'd go either way, but I'd prefer Evans over Hollywood Brown. Hollywood's very boom or bust, but it's gotten better from my experience because I have Hollywood in the league. How do I unload Odell Beckham to somebody?
I don't even know where to even begin with that for you. Kyle also agrees Evans over Hollywood, so I'm gonna try to push for that one.
Let us know how that goes. I'm very intrigued.
Okay. I got you.
Let's talk about the Eagles blew out the Lions, baby, 40-40. It got so bad that Fox went to another game because they were beating the shit out of the Lions. D, I know how I feel about the Eagles. Do you feel like they're back on track, or is this fool's gold?
Fool's gold.
Yeah.
Beating a winless team. To being the handicap man up. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Yo, do you think the Braves are going to lift the Georgia curse with a World Series pennant tonight?
Is it in Atlanta or is it in Houston?
I believe it is in Atlanta. And it's in Houston. It's game 6, so it's in Houston. So
it's in Houston, yes. If it is in Atlanta, so the next 2 games are in Houston. So yeah, they'll break the curse. Okay. They'll break it. And if they don't, we'll be here next week. In the first 15 minutes of the show, we're just gonna laugh at Atlanta sports.
The Boston Celtics, are they imploding already?
Yes, and it is beautiful to watch because anyone who knows me knows I hate all Boston sports for the most part. And to see them imploding, not even 10 games, Marcus Smart said that scouting reports are built around Jalen and Jason not passing the ball. And to that I say, Marcus Smart, this year you're averaging 8 points and you're shooting 29% from the field. Like, dog.
No, I'm terrible for laughing at that. I shouldn't laugh at that. I
mean, is there a lie? Dude who averaged 8 points is gonna walk up to you and say, "Hey, man,
yo, someone." I saw someone on Twitter say, Yeah, no, they're not passing you the ball because you fucking suck.
Like, like you're an all
I was like,
NBA
yo,
defender, my
chill
man.
out. Chill out.
And he's shooting 28% from three. So a man who can't even hit 30% anywhere gonna walk up to you and be like, "Hey, you need to pass me the ball." What?
Yo, media people, I'm here to tell you, this is to all the people out here. If the media describes your favorite athlete as a grit and grind player who can come and provide energy, I promise you they're trying to friendly say your man stinks.
Yeah,
Your
just like
man
when they
stinks.
deceptive speed when they talk about white athletes in football, same thing. Deceptive speed just means he's white. Like that's
Chris Collinsworth be geeking me with that. I mean, how? I mean, he kind of deceives you with his speed a little bit. What are you saying, Chris Collinsworth? What are you saying?
like you're just saying white people not fans. Like that's what he's saying.
Oh,
Hey, one more thing. This wasn't on the schedule, but I saw this today. Did you watch that academics interview with Brittany Renner?
I watched a little bit of that, and then I watched the Joe Budden. Joe Budden also interviewed her.
Oh, I did not know that. So who went harder at her, academics or Budden?
I think they were both they're both similar in range. The Budden one, they were just kind of asking about how things have been perceived, and I don't want to say her side, but what she thought of some of the perceptions, and she was just providing some clarity that I was like, oh, interesting.
Did Joe ask her if she likes to get kinky?
Hey, nah, that's one of the wildest videos I've ever seen on the internet. Easily one of the wildest videos I've ever seen on the internet.
Oh God,
That's
gold.
Kinky. Oh my goodness. Yo.
D, where can the people? That's all I got tonight. Where can the people find you?
People, make sure you follow Speak On It _pod on Instagram, on Twitter. We are outside. We've been posting content. We're trying to build the brand. Holla at us. Make sure you give the pod a follow at Speak On It _pod on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure y'all follow me at Los D Mix, LOSDEEMIX on Instagram and Twitter. Shout out to the people. Shout out to everyone who came through showing love. Shout out to Kyle, Trey S. Man, there's a whole bunch of y'all really in the chat, really showing love. Jay, Felicio, Kyle, of course, Reggie, shout out. So shout out to people showing love. Second Take Extra, I seen you as well. Shout out to y'all.
You can find me on Twitter at MadAds14, MADADS14. One note for the people: next week we are off. I am going on vacation, and I'm going to unplug, and I'm going to go find a steak, and I'm going to have a surf and turf. I'm going to drink some beer, and I'm going to relax for the first time in forever. So we're off next week,
man. As you should, my brother. Enjoy yourself. We're going to be back in 2 weeks, and people, I can tell you, next time you get a commissioner's update from me, I'm going to have a very clear picture on what's going on in the league.
I'm going to be on a 2-game win streak starting this week. I'm going on a run. The run is here.
All right, brother. Let's speak it into existence.
The run is here. I'm winning that money. I can't lose money in 2 leagues.
Yo, I'm in 6 leagues. Well, 5 leagues really, because one is a work league. I'm in 5 leagues. 2 of them, I'm like 5-2. No, I'm 5-3, 6-2, 6-2, and then 4-4 and 3-5. I can make some moves. These leagues where I got Christian McCaffrey, I need to make a second run, but boy, we gonna see. Really, once you get to like week 12, that's when you gonna know who the real are.
I'm gonna be in that reel. Ladies and gentlemen, peace.
Speak on it.